Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set the max cost per click the right way so that we could appear at the top of the page of Google. This is super important because if we're not setting our max cost per click right, Google is either not going to show our ads, we're not going to get any traffic, we're not going to get any clicks. So if you're not getting traffic, you're not getting clicks, it's because likely your ads isn't showing and your ad isn't showing at the top of the page because we're not, using the max cost per click. We're not bidding enough to appear at the top of the page. So when you have your campaigns built out and all of that, the first thing you want to do is change the columns. Okay, so for example here, I've already set this. So here it's going to tell us, what's the estimate top of the page bid, our impression top percentage, impression absolute top percentage, and I'm actually going to add another few right here. So I want to see, it should be right here, competitive metrics, search impression share, search top, and loss top. All right, so we'll hit replace. So now we know how much it's going to cost to appear at the top of the page here. So this is going to give us a good idea. And normally I like to stay, a couple dollars above this. Depending on how competitive the area is, that's going to ensure that we get our ads up there. Now, I like to include these columns because it's going to tell you how much we're actually showing up. So for example here, for our keyword divorce lawyer, we're bidding $80. That's how much we're willing to pay, our highest, for a click. Okay. Estimated top of the page, as you can tell, is $36. So we can actually probably bring our max cost per click down a little bit and still appear at the top of the page. And as you can see here, this is going to tell us that, out of 485 impressions, about 35% of that we appeared at the top of the page. So we were, one of the first 3 or 4 links. Impression absolute top means you are at the very top, number 1, right? So 17% of the time we were the very first ad on top of the page. Search impression share is, how many impressions we were able to get. So we got 485 impressions in the month of November here, and that's about 80%, right? So we're missing out on about 20% of impressions that we could have gotten, but it doesn't really matter because that's going to depend on your budget as well. So if you have a small budget, we obviously can't appear, our ad can't show up every single time. But as long as we're showing up and we're spending our daily budget, that's all that really matters. So this just gives me an idea if, we're not getting a lot of traffic, you know what I mean? That would just mean that we're not bidding high enough. Then we would just need to bid a little bit higher so we're getting more impressions. And then it'll tell us here. So right here, we're getting relatively high search impression shares, which means our ad is showing up most of the times when someone is searching up. This is all good, right? We're getting enough traffic, so we can actually lower these costs per click. Search top impression share. Now this one is, out of the 485 impressions, we only appeared about. Out of the 485 impressions, 35% of that we were at the top, but 27% of the time, out of the total impressions, we only received 27. So, let's just say there was 1,000 impressions, and out of 485 times our ad showed, we were at the top for 35%. But this is the total. So out of 1,000 impressions, so these are impressions that we didn't get as well included. We only showed up at the top for 27%. And so this gives us a good idea of whether we're showing up or we're not showing up at the top of the page. This is how much we're missing out, right? So 100 minus 27-ish, I guess, it's going to be around this area. So this is how much we're losing out on top of the page. So if anything is like greater than 90%, then we want to increase our cost per click. All right. So another way to see what our cost per click is to do this. We need to go into tools, and we need to go into keyword planner. Okay. So after we click on Keyword Planner, we're going to click on Get Search Volume and Forecast. And in this case here, we're bidding on keywords such as divorce lawyer, divorce attorneys. So we're going to look up divorce lawyer, and I'm going to copy that. We're going to hit Get Started. Keyword ideas. And really important, you want to set your location to wherever the local business is, right? So for example, this person is targeting, looks like Southern California, looks like, okay, the Los Angeles area. All right, so we'll just put Los Angeles. So for example, if the account is targeting, whatever city or area it is, then we would put that in right there. I'm going to hit save. Now, I'm going to do a phrase match divorce lawyer, hit enter, phrase match divorce attorney, hit enter, and I'm going to click on get results. So from here, it's going to give us a really good idea of how much we need to bid to be at the top of the page, right? So you can see here, top of the page, low range is, $4.86, $5.32. Now, what the low range means is if your ad is, well put together and, everything is set up correctly, then, you're going to be paying less, right? Because Google is going to reward you by charging you less. Now, if, and it also depends on the day, the time. So there's a lot of factors go into it. But on the low range, this is how much you're going to pay. I normally, take these numbers into consideration and then make a final decision afterwards. Now, top of the page is the high range. So this is kind of like the most that you can bid and still appear at the top of the page, right? So, I like to be right in between. So for this one, for $25 here, top of the page, that means that if we bid $25 maximum, then we're going to appear at the top of the page. But obviously, we don't want to pay the full amount every single time. We want to get as close to this number as possible. So if you're just starting off your account, I would just kind of start somewhere in the middle, above this, maybe a little bit less than this. We can go anywhere between, $12 to $20 for divorce lawyer and divorce attorney. So let's look at what we got going on here. I think we saw this one was for $80, which is relatively pretty high. Like I was saying, average cost per click is $70 because they bid so high. So it's a little high, but we could definitely adjust it. And let's go back to our columns here. So as you can see here, top of the page, it's going to change every single day. But this is going to kind of give us an idea of where to be at, right? So this person isn't targeting Los Angeles exactly. Let me give you guys, see if I can give you guys a better example. These are all zip codes, right? So let's look at all time here. Okay, so let's see what they spent the most on. $1,900 in this zip code. So I'm not really sure what city this is, but let's search that up. So this is going to be Los Angeles County, Ladera Heights, I guess. Okay. Sorry. So let's go back here and let's search up Ladera or Ladera Ranch. Right, this is going to be a little bit more expensive part of Los Angeles, so that's why we see the costs a lot higher. You see, this goes up to $100. So as long as you put the location in correctly, you're going to have a pretty good, idea of what the cost is going to look like. So we look at here, this person has a bunch of zip codes in. I normally just like to do, a range, but there's too many zip codes in here, in my opinion. But so that's why we have the cost per click at where it is. So but generally when you look at when we open up the columns here, then it's already going to tell you right here as well, $36. So as long as we're above these estimate top of the page, then we should be pretty good. So for example, if you're below the first page, Google will tell you need to bid at least $37.57. So we put that at 42 because we want to be a couple dollars above what normal people are bidding. Then as you can see here, that red goes away, and now we know for this keyword we're going to show our ads at the top a little bit more. So as you can see here, we have $80. Estimated top of the page bid is $50. This is if you want to be aggressive. We can bid $80 and we'll be really aggressive of trying to get our ads at the top. But so if we take these numbers into consideration, we do a quick research on how much the cost per click is going to be here, then that's how you're going to determine what your max cost per click here, right? So there's no like absolute right number for like this is exactly how much you should bid. The general rule of thumb is to just be a couple dollars, or depending on how aggressive you want to be, is to bid above these numbers, right? The estimated top of the page. And these numbers are going to change every single day, depending on the traffic, depending on the competitiveness, and things like that. So we'll take these numbers into consideration along with these numbers. And we want to see if there's already data. We want to see how much our ads are showing up at the top already. Can we bid more? Should we bid more if we're not getting enough traffic? Or we're getting enough traffic, we're spending our budget, our full daily budget, and maybe now we can decrease our max cost per click and still be able to spend our full budget and being able to maximize our cost per lead, right? So you guys have to adjust it, make changes. What is the least that we could pay while still spending our daily budget and getting still being able to get our leads coming in. All right, so that's how I determine the max cost per click bid. This is manual cost per click. We want to be in full control of our how much we want to pay per click. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.